How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another episode of your support group. Hey, and today, me and Q got on. My boy Skip.
How y'all feel? What's going on?
What's up?
Your support group.
So, Skip, look, if I told him everything you've done, then I'll be here forever. So, I'll let you.
I feel you.
Yeah, I'll let you go ahead and just give them a little snippet of what you do because, I mean, Skip got some stuff for you. So,
basically, for everybody who doesn't, know me that well or not that familiar, by trade, since I was a teenager, I've been a writer. I started my career as a journalist, and I also started an independent label way back in the day. I learned how to make films, so essentially I've had a production company at least part-time since I was in my early 20s, but it's difficult. A lot of people like to label themselves and label other people. I don't know if I had to do that. I would say, I am a writer, but I don't just write, but that's, that seems to be where the trademark lies, and the website is skippulley.com. And on the weekends before the, I guess we're still calling this a pandemic.
Yeah,
before,
I guess.
before all the whatever, happened, I was doing part-time, mostly on weekends, natural health. I have a natural health and healing practice called Kahuna Life. The website is still so slow going, but there's a YouTube channel and a Facebook group. And there's more information about it on my website, so you can look up Kahuna Life. But in essence, I just do a lot with media. I've got 3 magazines, Soundboy, which is soundboymag.com. Catharsis, which is Catharzine, is the actual magazine. The online shop associated with it is Catharsis Books and Vinyl, which people can look up. There's YouTube channels for all these as well. Everything runs through skippulley.com. And here lately, as of the last 2 weeks, knock wood, we'll see how it goes. I'm doing paid product reviews now.
Oh.
And the interesting thing is I hope that it opens up a lot more of opportunities to, get some marketing of some other things done.
Right.
Because it doesn't pay very much, but I'm thinking I can probably sell everything that I review because, I don't need, 3 or 4 fancy coffee makers or a bunch of exercise equipment. I'm not going to keep the stuff. I'm just going to, basically lately I put it together. I make a video. I say it works or it doesn't work. This is how it works. Here's the website. This is what I think. And, that's it. So, I'll probably have a real,
yeah. Now
I'll
you
have a
can
big
say
garage
everything
sale.
you want to say, but that unboxing stuff. I mean, I know you've heard of a YouTube channel called Unbox Therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's made a lot of money off of unboxing stuff and saying whether or not it works and whether or not
that's kind of why I agree to it, because I'm like, it's weird because the way we think and what we actually do sometimes is so different. Like when it snowed really bad last week, or when it iced rather, and you couldn't get around, I was like, I don't eat a lot of meat, but I was like, I haven't made chili in a while. And I've been making this recipe for salsa chili, which I'm like, man, that sounds like it's good. Like, you have to really mess up something like that.
You got the right person on the call today. You want to talk about salsa? Give them some recipes.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. I was on YouTube, like I was like, okay, I like this. It's coming out good, but let me get on here. And I was probably 20-30 minutes on YouTube watching chili videos. Wow. And I'm like, you know what? There's something to this. So, we'll see how it goes. But, that's what I've been doing as of late, which, I don't really mind. I mean, it has a element of writing in it, which I do anyway, and video, which I shoot anyway, and so it combines that. Oh, one last thing I totally forgot, and they would have been upset for me not mentioning it. The the Charlotte Indie Film Group, which is like
Yes.
the biggest thing going right now. Charlotte Indie Film Group, part of the Indie Film Group network. So we have the like Triangle Triad, Charlotte, Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, and it's just all independent filmmaking. So anybody who wants to make a film or has ideas or be a part of a film, definitely check that out. That's the website is indiefilmgroups.com, and the Charlotte Indie Film Group is on Facebook, which of course you can join, and we'd love to have you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I was going to say, going back to the YouTube thing, YouTube has, because I've been doing a lot of studying lately, because I've been thinking about putting the podcast on YouTube, but in a different format of not actually us actually talking, like doing like the little pictures in the background, like the little video snippets in the background and stuff. So I was thinking about doing it like that, especially for the older episodes where there's no video at all for it, or can't be no video for it at all. Right. But I was thinking about that, and I was studying like the algorithms of things that people watch, and I'm like, it's some weird people in this world. Like, like I've seen videos of car crashes get like 20 million views, and then it'd be something about like popping a pimple on somebody's neck, get like 1,500 views, and I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Like, why are these people getting so many views off of absolutely nothing?
It's you said it. People are. I mean, it's an understatement to say people are weird. There are things out there that just like. But again, I just got done like talking about how okay, it's a chili making video or whatever, and I'm sitting here watching a half hour's worth without even. I mean, and you do get sucked in, and you lose track of time. You forget what you were doing right there. You're like, let me watch this for a minute, or you think, okay, 2 or 3 minutes, I'll check this out, and then you look up at the clock, and it's like an hour has gone by. Right. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, trust me. Like I've spent a lot of hours watching YouTube. Like, and all y'all YouTubers, y'all welcome. Y'all actually made some money off of me over the past couple weeks, because I've been seriously just sitting up there watching YouTube and trying to understand why this video got so many views and why this video didn't get no views. And it's a really good video, But like I said, some people are weird. And speaking of weird people, let's talk about speaking of weird people, let's talk about tax season, because this is when the really weird people come out. Like the 30-day tax party is about to start for real. And I'm not throwing nobody under the bus who buys a new car. Like, I wouldn't buy a new car right now, the way they're marking up vehicles. But if you need one, then sure as heaven, go out and go get one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's an interesting I don't know what you would call it, not a juxtaposition, but it's interesting that there's a big argument about, like, when I start talking about this and I tell people to save, and they're like, what's that word? I never heard. What are you talking about? Is that English? And people have in their mindset that they go out, they work hard, and there's a little bit of extra money, so why not treat themselves? Why not do what they need to do? Because they're out there working hard, they're not harming anyone, and they feel like, okay, now I can do a little bit something, just a little something for me. And there is some truth to that. I understand that argument, but I don't know, what the percentage of people is, but I live in East Charlotte, like near, I'm between, well, it's Northeast, so I'm about halfway between NODA and University. Okay.
That's why I started laughing. Like, you really do need a
Yeah.
car up in there.
Well, oh my God, you can't walk anywhere over here.
No.
But on top of that, this is the kind of neighborhood that, first of all, just to give you some indication, when I bought my house here, you know how you see those commercials about you bundle and save?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, let me put my, homeowner's insurance on this thing. I called up Progressive, blah, blah, blah. And then the girl got back on the phone and said, okay, this is your new rate. And it went way up. And I'm like, whoa, no. I'm bundling the joint. I said, you jumped on the phone with the wrong person. I'm bundling. And she's like, yeah, I know. She was like, because of your new zip code, this is how much your auto insurance went up. And after being here a week, I understand perfectly what she was talking about. And not to get, I ain't gonna say no graphic words on your program, but this stretch of East Harris, so the plaza is on the corner. Mm-hmm. So down the block is Milton, where Milton runs into Sharon Amity. Mm-hmm. Okay? So when I moved over here and I started telling people, around in the area where I was like, yeah, I bought a house off the plaza and blah, blah, blah. I was talking and they was like, oh, so basically brothers call it the Chicano 500. Okay. White boys call it the N-word 500.
Wow.
Yeah, because, and listen, I'm laughing, but I've personally, since I moved here in 2016, I bought this house in 2016. There have been 4 wrecks at the top of my block with fatalities. Not just like bad accidents, 4 fatalities. They average a really serious car accident probably every month and a half, maybe. So there's like 10 serious accidents on this block every single year. And it's because people just drive like they've never been not only driven a car, never been inside a car. Like they've never been in motion inside of a metal vehicle with wheels in it before.
That's most of North Carolina, though. I mean, it's a NASCAR state. I mean, anybody who's driven through North Carolina knows. Like, I've driven bumper to bumper in New York and New Jersey. No problem.
Yeah.
You might get a little scratch, a little bump or whatever, or somebody might come close to hitting you. But in North Carolina, I mean, the roads is wide open, so they're going to light up the wheel.
No, I agree. I've driven New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, which is terrible. Oh, but but you have a point. It's almost like in those environments, to expect it, to be a little bit more defensive minded, and you don't have the opportunity to drive 100 on a 35 mile an hour street like you do here. And that's part one. Part two, I don't know if y'all are, from the Midwest. You got folks from the Midwest or whatever. People move here from the Midwest and they come from these towns that have 2 stoplights and a stop sign. And they just, like zero awareness of any traffic, regulations or this block, people run red lights like it's insane.
Or the person in the left lane try to make a right turn. Yeah.
Oh, God. Do people ever do that? You know what people do here when you are making a left turn against traffic and you have your signal on? People come up to my left and try to make a left in front of me. Oh, do you ever have? Yeah, that happens here. That happens a bunch. Like, I don't know whether they think you're just sitting there or whatever. And I'm like, I see them pull up on my left, and I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you going?
But that's
and they
New
turn,
York.
And they make a left. Yeah, well, in New York, they do it just because, hey, I'm doing this.
Hey, buddy, you're in the way. Get out the way, buddy.
Yeah. Anything else would inconvenience me, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. But here, I think they do it just because they're dumb. Like, they don't, like, that happens here a lot. I think people think, oh, this car has been sitting there for 2 seconds. So therefore, they can't possibly be looking to see if any, and that's how their brain works. They're like, okay, if it's been 3 seconds and they haven't just pulled out at random, I'm just going to try to pass them on the left and make the same turn that they are, and we'll just both turn left at the same time and try not to hit each other. But yeah, it's a huge concern, and you were correct to laugh when I said to you, Charlotte. You start laughing. Yes, you are correct.
Oh yeah.
So I don't blame people, and like you said,
look, just a little short story here. My in-laws live off the plaza. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Like my wife.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's rough. I know.
My wife literally got into an accident on the plaza coming from my in-laws' house, and I tell her all the time. I say, cut the back way, go down W.T. Harris, and then hop on the highway because we live in Gastonia, which is
right.
You would rather be in Charlotte
yeah.
than get hit in Gastonia, because 9 times out of 10, if you get hit in Gastonia, you're getting hit by a truck. I'm sorry. It's just the area. Everybody got a truck.
Yeah, I know. So I know how it goes.
Yeah.
But that's what I was like when you said everyone here needs a car. That's correct, and that is true. But getting back to what people do with their taxes, and as far as cars, which is a huge thing. You hear the marketing, which is always suspiciously towards people of color, but not gonna get into that. Oh, but but what people do here, and again, I don't know if y'all have experienced this. Is just, and this is a nice neighborhood. I like my neighbors. But there's a lot of people on this side of town, men especially, and sometimes divorced or separated. And they have, like, everything pimped, rims, and custom paint job, all this stuff. And meanwhile, their kids can't read or are eating bologna sandwiches or don't have a coat.
Right.
And I see that multiplied so many times in terms of the effect at tax time, because now they're like, okay, I got, and again, what I was telling Kenny before about it being extra money, it's not really extra. Everybody's got a bill they can pay off.
It's your money. Like, it's not extra money, it's your money. They just took it from you.
Right. Yeah, basically, they're paying you with your own dough. That's how we used to say it in the 70s. They're paying you back with your own bread, okay? And so it's a difficult tightrope that people walk, because they figure, I want to do something nice for myself, but honestly, I don't have kids, so I can't speak, in terms of experience, but I do know that when you have children, the children's priorities come before yours. I mean, that's common sense. When it doesn't, then this is why you see so many rest homes full to capacity,
right?
Because they were not very good parents. Then they got old. The kids was like, okay, pops, in a home you go, mom, here you go. We'll see you maybe Christmas, et cetera, et cetera. And again, I'm not saying that that's like the ultimate bad thing to do. Sometimes it's a necessity. But
because sometimes you can't be everywhere at one time. Sometimes
and that's true.
You gotta bite the bullet on it and say, "Hey, Ma, I gotta put you here because I still gotta work." And
right, it's a necessity sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, and especially in cultures of color, because it's difficult explaining a lot of times that when I was a kid, they would be like 2-3 generations in the same house. They just didn't, put folk in homes and stuff like that. But at the same time, everybody in the house didn't have to work the way they do now.
Right.
So it's understood that it can be a necessity, but everybody knows somebody who can't wait to put the parents in a home.
Yeah.
And part of that is because, maybe I needed the extra money for something for school. Maybe I need to get my teeth fixed. Maybe I needed XYZ growing up. And, you had the rims, you had, I don't know if you married, what you're doing with a $1,500 watch. The $50 watch is difficult for most people to tell that it's a $50 watch.
Look,
so, I mean, people like extravagances, and the tax season is one of those seasons where people do that.
Right. I'm one of those people who are big on their kids. Like when you go to a cookout, I want, like, if we making steak don't say the hot dogs for the kids and the steak is for us. No, if I'm
Right,
eating steak,
right.
my kids are eating steak. Like,
Right,
I've never been
right.
one of those parents to where, you know, I have more than my kids because
Right.
they're the future that's going to take care of me at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Like, I have nothing but
Exactly.
girls, so I have to take care of them. How I'm going to eat later on in life?
Right. I mean, and you made the point better than I could have made it, because all I was saying was folks just, you know, shove their parents in a home, but that's exactly right.
Right.
You know, that's how life works. You take care of them, so later on they take care of you.
Right.
And it's like a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
And I don't know about y'all too, but in the mail, do y'all get those glossy packs of not even coupons anymore? It's just like they're like circulars, but they're more like heavy, and it's like either waxy or kind of cardboard, and it's for like Cons Home Plus and Rent a Center and all these things that, like, you know, you would, if you did do it, you would almost go and hock just to get a lamp or a table, or you would be paying for a recliner, which you would pay for a used car.
You would basically be dying to pay for it. I mean,
yeah.
And then you'll be paying for it for so many months that is just pointless. You would have came out cheaper just cutting your losses, just going out there and go buy the thing at full price.
Exactly.
And I understand that some people, and I call it the, what I call it? I call it the microwave addiction. You know, what happens is everybody wants things right now. You know, think about a microwave. You put your food in there, it immediately heats up. Instead of you taking that same water and putting it on the stove and letting it gradually boil.
Right.
You have to basically, and like you were saying, you have to basically save your money and build up to buy those things. Sometimes you're not just going to immediately have it. And I understand that. I like nice things.
And I think it's easier to justify, you know, you're getting your kids things like that because, you know, you are kind of living vicariously through them. You're like, hey, I'm going to get you these, you know, kicks because, you know, when I was maybe in the 6th, 7th grade, I wanted a pair of kicks like that and I couldn't get them, but there's nothing preventing you from having them. And also we live in a time where if you use your common sense, you can buy things that are both quality and, you know, I guess what kids would call a name brand. You know, when I was a kid, there really wasn't that. Like the quality stuff was all like square. That was like, you know, if you bought something that lasted, it wasn't fashionable. Right. And all the fashionable stuff tore up. So, you know, it put everybody in a bad spot. But now you can kind of do that. You can kind of say, hey, this is a quality thing, you know, as long as they know how to take care of their stuff.
Well, my middle daughter, she's the most cheapest child in the world. Like, she knows how to budget $1. I didn't teach her that. I know for sure her mama didn't. But my middle daughter, she's like, seriously, like, she'll ask if something's in budget, or she'll be, if it's something like really expensive, she'll be kind of hesitant to ask about it. But, you know, like I told her, I said that if you don't ask about it, then you'll never know whether or not you can get it. I don't have that issue with my middle daughter. It's the oldest one. She's into this whole purse thing. And
yeah, I know what you mean.
She's about to be 18 in July, so she can purse herself on out. My wife does an excellent job when it comes to her purses. Like, she always finds a deal. Like, they be some bad purses too. I'll be like, Dag, did you buy me anything? You spent up all the money? And she'd be like, no, this only cost $30. I'm like, really? You should have bought me one. Look, I could have took that thing and put it on eBay. It made me some money.
Yeah, I think I got my bargaining stuff from my grandparents. My parents, it wasn't that they were frugal. It was just they were them parents who's like, no, you're not getting that. Like even if it was something they could afford, they were like, nah, better.
I grew up that way, where it was like always no. They can have $1 million in their pocket and be like, no.
Right.
I'd be like, why?
Or at least it was like dealing with an insurance claim, the first answer was always no, regardless. Because you can have cancer and call the insurance company, and that first one, it's gonna be no.
Is you dead yet? Then no.
Yep. You just gotta keep at them. And that was mostly for my mom. My pop sometimes, if I kind of got it to where it would be in his better interest, he would weigh his options and be like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Or anything that would, create silence and distance. Yeah. So my parents were really pragmatic, I guess is what I'm saying. When I was growing up.
Look.
But yeah, those things that come in the mail this time of year, and the commercials are like, y'all ever see these those cars? They're like infomercials, but they last like a half hour, an hour, and it's always a white guy talking black selling cars.
Yeah,
and he's like, you ever see them? It's like, yeah, come on down.
What is it called? 88 something.
Like, hey man, come on down. What you get? What you ain't gonna get that? You can get that shit Camaro from blah blah blah. I'm like, where you from? He's like, Lancaster.
Where you gonna find a car like this at? Where you gonna find a car? At another car lot, because I definitely ain't buying one from you.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's that time of year, and it's really
like you're gonna get a whole bunch of stuff in the mail. You're gonna see all these people. Look at all the new stuff that's coming out. I bet you like two pair of Jordans gonna drop like within the next couple of weeks. You watch, everybody gonna have them on. Like, why would I want to dress like everybody else? But anyway.
Yeah, they're trying to maximize, their profit margins based on the season, the time of year. They're like, okay, people who spend money, this is the only time of year they're gonna have it. But we need to hit them hard.
But peep this, Skip. All during last year, they telling you it's a shortage on stuff. But now, all of a sudden, now that it's tax season, where did all this stuff come from?
Exactly.
Was it always there?
Listen. So this, first of all, and not to get off on this because it'll take up a lot of time, but I was quote unquote front line all of 2020, most of 2021, and I can tell you that the quote unquote supply chain issues, a lot of that was manufactured and intentional. Oh, yeah. And it has to do with multinational corporations in China, because it was easy to resolve. And and they could have had the reserves unload the ships, boom, boom, boom. They're getting paid anyway. And that solves that. But instead it was like, well, we're powerless to do anything about it, and all this food is going away. No, it's not. They could have easily gotten things where they were supposed to go. And a lot of that was contrived. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Now they're, everything is seemingly in abundance after being quote unquote short. Like, they were saying last, few months, you can't even go to a tire place to get tires because they can't get the rubber, the materials for the tires, or there were like components that we can't build this whole car because we don't have the chip.
Right, but in the middle of that, they still coming out with brand new cars.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it make you start thinking like weird stuff, like especially when they start talking about the tires. Like, do the tires have COVID? Like, what's going on here? Does rubber have COVID? Yeah. Because I need to know.
I order stuff from China just for, my production company or for the film group or whatever. And during the height of what they were saying, like somebody would get back to me in the email and say, oh, this is 4 months out and blah, blah, blah. Okay. I would get it in like 2 weeks. And this is from China. Yeah. And I'm like, what happened to after all of that, like they would send me 2-3 emails like, oh, this is going to be hung up in San Diego for about 2 months or whatever.
I know a bunch of people like that. They be like, Kenny, I kid you not, it came here in like 3 days.
Yeah, like a week later. Yeah, I got a week later, I get this thing being like, your FedEx delivery is en route. And I'm like, what? It was like, but they do that anyway. I mean, they did that when the tornadoes hit the Midwest. I had stuff coming from places wasn't even close to there, and they were like, "Oh, it's delayed due to the storm." And I'm like, how is the Midwestern tornado affecting something coming from Myrtle Beach to Charlotte? Like, like that. Like, I was like, dude, just tell me you don't want to drive or you don't want to unpack it. Like, just tell me, just be honest. I mean, I get it. I'm
Listen,
not gonna.
if you want to pull a Netflix on me and upcharge me
Right.
for it, just let me know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just let me know. Like,
That
you know.
I just appreciate honesty. That's all.
Yeah, I just appreciate the honesty. Like, if you want me to add an extra $5 to it, fine. You know.
Right.
Like, I don't
Exactly.
need I don't need a delay on something that's coming from Concord to Gastonia. Like,
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, let me keep my money in my pocket. I'm going straight up there. I'm gonna drive up there and go get it myself.
You could for what they charge.
Like, it's just stupid stuff, man. But and now too, during this season, we got gas prices that don't even make any sense. Like, it
Yeah.
looked like for a minute there, I'm gonna be honest, it looked like for a minute there they were starting to go down, and then all of a sudden, January 15th hit.
Yeah.
And now I kid you not, it's almost like 320, 330 at gas stations.
Again, when I was doing like mostly it was POS systems and retail, but we also did like pharmacies and things like that. So I was everywhere. I was like healthcare facilities and offices and warehouses and whatever. I was on the road a lot, and the gas prices even then were just steadily, creeping up. And I have a sports car, and it is not efficient. And so I'm filling up at all. So when I fill up, it's not quite like a Suburban, but it's pretty high. Like, and I have the kind of car where you can't just, and you remember back in the day where you could just put some gas, like, hey, let me get $10 for gas. You just put the $10 in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even hardly do that with cars now. They don't even work that way. If you are, a quarter of a tank, you have to top it off. And I would always try my best to get it to where it was either the light was on or the needle was as far down as it would go, and then I'm gonna get all I can out of this joint right here.
You sound like me and my wife. Like, we'll be looking at the
it,
car.
I mean, I didn't put myself in danger, but I'm like, okay.
We'll wait till you get down to about 30. The light will be on for a good minute. But we'll wait till you get down to about 30.
Keep in mind, my territory was like I had way out, like Albemarle and out towards Waysboro, Rockingham, whatever. And this wasn't always like the main road. Like normally, you go to those places, you like, okay, I'm gonna stick on Highway 74 the whole way. No. This was like I'd be in a town that I'd never heard the name of before. And I'd have to go into a Food Lion to ask them what town I was in and what was this other town's name. And even though I had even the GPS didn't know. Like how far in the woods do you have to be for the GPS? Like, and it wouldn't say like the wrong thing. It would just be quiet. And I'd be like, what is,
are you going to say something?
Or yeah, I'd be like, and the thing, how it go, boop, boop. And I'd be like, where is, Pittsboro, North Carolina? And it would just like, boop, boop. And like, it wouldn't say anything. And then like 2 minutes later, it would be like, keep straight. And I'm like, no. What you talking about? Tell me like a thing. Don't just say go.
Yes. It's definitely parts of Stanley County that's like that. Like when I used to be a medical carrier, I was out. I had to go make a run out to Stanley County because they was having some issues, and I had to make a run up out there. And I was like, "Dang, it's a hospital up out here." That was my first thought. You mean. But yeah, how you feel about people investing in crypto with their tax return?
Crypto is something, I'll be honest with y'all. Crypto, if somebody's being honest with you who invests a lot, which I used to, I don't anymore, you have to know what you're doing. It's not going to be a magic formula to where it's like, okay, I'm going to put money in this and it's definitely going to pay off. Now, having said that, is better than doing what a lot of people I know, and I'm sure y'all know too, do play the lottery all the time and play like they're actually coming out ahead. Not that you can't win. I mean, I've fooled around with it and won a little money, but these people who play it as a part of their income, for some reason, don't seem to factor in how much they're actually spending on the tickets, because you can do the math and say, look, you won this much, but you spent this much. Yeah. So you're basically paying, the state to give you part of your money back.
Right. It's a lot though when you take it in. So you basically, because most people that play the lottery don't have no money. They play it in the hopes of getting money. So you're taking money away from people that's fairly probably broke. Then on top of that, you're causing an addiction, basically a gambling addiction, because now you're saying, oh, it's all right for you to go out here and go gamble. And then the third part about that is, where's the money going?
Right. Exactly, because it's supposed to be for education.
I don't see no schools getting much better here.
The kids in this neighborhood are really dumb. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that, but
just talk about the babies, why don't you?
But I mean, and that has more to do with the parents, but also, yeah, I don't think if it's going to schools, it's not going to any of the schools around here. I know that for sure. But yeah, you're right. It is kind of a victimizing system. Now, I will tell y'all something I found out when I was out on the road, especially working in like Harris Teeters and places like that, more like a step up from the like the Food Lions and the Save-A-Lots or whatever. A lot of upper middle class white people played the lottery. A lot. Way more than I thought, which was a big surprise to me, because I would go, like a lot of places that I would go into, there's actually some of these stores aren't even around anymore, but that was a huge part of their, sales, like was tobacco, 40s, the lottery tickets. And we're talking supermarkets. These aren't like bodegas and convenience stores. They customer service would be the only place in the store that had a line, because that's where you got those products. You got the tobacco products, and I guess they could check out alcohol anywhere, but they would have to go to the service desk to get the lottery tickets. So it was a big surprise to me to see that demographic of a lot of older sort of Caucasian people. And this goes back to what you were saying about, people spending money around this time of year. And this is something I used to talk about when I would talk to like classes and teenagers and things like that. The bottom line of it is, and this tax season is a good season to sort of save and at least, put away some savings and things like that. The averages are so different when you talk about the average black family and the average Caucasian family, or at least non-Hispanic or black family, in that a white couple, let's say they don't have kids, let's say they're just a couple. The average white couple that makes their household makes 60 to 80 grand, they're actually worth 120, 130, whereas the average black household that makes 60 to 80 grand is worth 30 or 40. Yeah. And a big reason for that is because our culture, in that we buy things that immediately depreciate. Yeah. Okay, you're talking about cars that depreciate as soon as you drive them off the lot.
If I see another person with a brand new Maserati,
listen,
I'm going to literally run up there with my impact gun and take your wheels off and run.
It's things that don't, like, even if let's say it doesn't appreciate, it doesn't have resale value, like luxury items. Yeah. And, like I was saying before, jewelry, watches, clothing, things like that. Those are things that those average, non-Hispanic, non-black households, that mindset is different. You know, they put money into things where the money's gonna stay or it's gonna come back to them, and it creates generational. And you know, Kenny knows as good as anyone else. I'm a revolutionary. Look, I know all about redlining, and in fact, our mutual friend, we had a super deep conversation with somebody who was busting on. He was trying to say that generational racism and institutional racism didn't exist, and we had to straighten them out because, yes, of course, there's a lot of things in the country that, you know, were not a level playing. In fact, still to this day aren't a level playing.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
so
it shouldn't even be the concept.
Yeah, so that much is most certainly true, but we definitely don't help things when, you know, the money we get, our first instinct isn't, let me open a new checking account. Let me open a new savings account. Let me see what kind of investments that they have through whatever funds, and again, I'm not trying to tell people to do 401ks and things like that, because a lot of that stuff is just as unsteady.
And yeah, before we go any further, I want to make it understood, we're not telling you what to do with your money. We're just trying to give you a better perspective of what to do with your money instead of buying a brand new Maserati. Because listen, if I catch you in the Maserati, why do people buy brand new when you can buy? Listen, and this is a prime example of what Skip is saying right now. A brand new Maserati costs you about what, 120, 130, somewhere around there right now with the markups, right? Brand new.
Yeah. Just in the door with no feature.
Yeah,
that's
brand new.
The start. Yeah,
brand new.
Yeah.
Once that thing leaves the lot,
yep.
You ever see a rock go into some water? Because that's basically what you just did. As soon as you cross that threshold, you just threw a rock in some water and just suck all the way down to the bottom. Because now that Maserati is probably worth half of what you paid for it, about $60,000. And within a year, it depreciates even more to about $30,000. Like, come on. Like, those are, listen, only way I buy a luxury car, or any car really, that's really like that big thing, is if it's used. My Hyundai was a little bit more on the lenient side, because right now I can still just about get my money up out of my Hyundai. Because they're fairly decent cars, except for the ones that don't catch on fire. I'm sorry, Hyundai. I'm sorry. No jabs at you. Well, I still love you.
I said I have a Hyundai too.
Yeah, but
I've had one. In fact, I don't know any black person who has never had a Hyundai at some point in their life.
Yeah, Hyundai, a Kia.
Yeah, I've had a Hyundai. I've had a Kia. Hey, I done sported both of them, Joy. I know where you at.
Look,
it's better than American cars.
Look, I love my Hyundai. It has gotten me. It's been hitting the back and everything, and it still drive like it's normal. But at the end of the day, the depreciation on that Hyundai is far less than on that Maserati. And so what I'm saying is, why are we always stuck in that pattern of buying depreciating assets? We have to get out of that mindset.
So one of the things that I talked about before is one of the things that people of color very rarely do is that we don't talk to our children about financial literacy. We don't teach them how to budget. We don't teach them about debt management. We don't teach them about saving and or investing. So, like when I was growing up, basically we lived paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And then I was in that mindset, you know, paycheck to paycheck, rob Peter to pay Paul. And then I started saying to myself, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to just barely get by. So I started studying these things on my own to figure out ways where I could have a surplus of money so I didn't have to live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And so those were things that I started teaching to my children. And so that's what we have to do in our community is we have to start teaching our kids at a very young age. Like sit them down at the table and say, look, this is what the bills look like. You know, this is how much money
the fundamentals.
Exactly.
Because you're not like, and the way most kids are now, it's not, I mean, they're not gonna, listen, everyone's young once, and everyone does things that young people do, and it's better to make those mistakes. It's better to make mistakes when you're 22 than when you're 52. Because when you're 22, you got time to get over it.
Recover.
And you got time. You can recover and say, phew, okay, I ain't going to do that no more.
Right.
But yeah, you can talk to them about the fundamentals and say, this is what this is about. And eventually, I believe, that it will stick. And a lot of people don't do that. I don't know whether it's like, I don't know if I would call it a fear or a hesitancy, or maybe it's just if they feel like they bring that up, that the children will come up a little bit wary of having money. But I think anything's better than the alternative, which is the way that culture is now, especially with, look at our top earners. Look at football players and athletes. They're always broke. Millions of dollars and they go broke because you never had money before, don't know what to do with it. They turn around. Entertainers too, in fact, entertainers probably even more so.
It's definitely a cycle of repeating itself.
Yeah.
Well, this one of the pastors at a church I used to attend, she said, if you can't manage $5, you can't manage $5 million.
Right.
So you have to learn the basics.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the day, we used to go to the mall. We did not have no debit card. We did not have, look, you went to the mall with $5 or $10, you had to stretch. You're like, okay, this is my arcade money. This is my cassette tape money over here with this. This is my Orange Julius money right here.
I was just about to say Orange.
You know, you got to cop that OJ.
Yeah, you got to cop that OJ.
Up in the spot. What? Yeah. They still got one of those at that old timey mall in Concord. Have you been there? It's called.
Yeah.
I think it's just called Carolina Mall.
Yeah.
It's like going back in time, son.
Yep.
They got a Maurice's in there.
Yep. My daughter actually got her ears pierced there. The baby, the 2-year-old, just got her ears pierced there like last year. Yep.
I was shocked when I went in there. I was like, this is 1987, my son. I am going to stay here forever.
But it's really clean in there. It's really clean.
It is.
It is
It
nicest
is like a
new,
exactly. It's like a weird, like new state-of-the-art mall with old, they got like I thought I was going to see a record bar any second. They got that going.
I'm bugging because they still got Sears there.
They do. Oh my God, they do. You're right. So, but yeah, that's what you were saying about paycheck to paycheck, and we didn't have a choice but to a lot of times learn how to budget like that because we didn't have that safety net of, well, we might have resources or, I ran out of money. I'm going to ask, mom or pop for this or that. Man, I knew when that $10 was up, it was up.
Yep.
And it was like, if I held out my hand, my moms would slap me 5. Be like, yeah, let's do the bump because you ain't getting no more money.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then you got to also, going back to like our parents, we didn't trust banks. Like banks was taking black people money. So,
right.
I mean, that financial literacy, like Q said, is non-existent. I mean, it's non-existent. Like I'm actually like teaching my kids and working with my kids now. I'm like Q, I'm working with my kids now to try to teach them how to save $1 or what you do with this or how you pay this bill. Like I had to learn all this stuff on my own. Like I had to learn how to even fill out a money order on my own. I mean, even though it's not that hard if you're literate, but
yeah, but no, well, like I said, when you're young and you're just starting out and you're hard-headed and you got to learn things, it kind of at that time in my life, I all of a sudden was glad that my parents were such like pragmatists of, no, don't do that. You have to do this. This is your priority or whatever. Not that I listen, because again, when you're 20, you're gonna be 20. I mean, that's just how it goes. Like I was a pretty smart together 20-year-old, but I was 20.
Yeah, somehow between 15 and 20, like men get like dumb. Like we can be the most smartest kid all the way up to about 15 and just get dumb from 15 all the way to 20, and then about 21 we start to click back in. But
yeah, so no, I'm with you on that, and one thing that definitely doesn't help, like when I was, I guess, a freshman or sophomore in high school, we had mandatory classes like bookkeeping, record keeping, typing. Like you couldn't not take that stuff, and that's stuff they don't even offer anymore.
no,
like they kids don't know how to fill out a W-4 tax form, or I mean they'll be lucky to know how to fill out an application, and most of them don't know how to do that. At least a lot of the applications I get,
they don't even know what a resume is. Some of them,
right? Or they think if they have a resume, they don't have to fill out an application, and when somebody asks them to do it, they're like, "Oh, I gotta do this," and it's crazy looking because they figure, okay, I already got this resume together. But when I think that was mandatory probably up until my junior or senior year. At least not all of them, but you had to have something. Like you had to have one of those things. And I remember there was either a record keeping or bookkeeping class, and this teacher was like, you know how them teachers are not the most popular teachers in school anyway. But man, she would teach you like, this is how you fill out a bank slip. This is how you do this and do that. And if you didn't do it right, she would call you out. Like, like so-and-so, you're going to starve to death because if you don't make it to college or you get thrown out of college,
right,
you don't know how to fill out the slip. Right. So, but they don't even have that anymore. They don't have, I tutor kids, that, they technically, a lot of them, they don't have anything that teaches them like grammar and punctuation. They might have an English class, but a lot of time it's like English lit.
Come on, man. They don't even write in cursive no more.
Yeah, they don't. You're right. They don't teach any type of script or cursive writing. When I was in junior high, they still had correspondence. In other words, they would teach us how, like, dear so and so, sincerely, and they don't have anything like that now.
None of that no more. Now they teach you how to type and put LOL at the end of the statement.
Yeah, and that's why 30, 40-year-old grown people now walk right up to you and just start talking. Like, not, hey, how's it going? My name is so-and-so, or hey, how are you? Or, they just roll up on, like, did y'all? I mean, I'm new to that. Like, until, like, about 5 years ago, I started noticing that.
Or either they talk to you like they texting you.
Yeah, it's just like honestly, I was out at a film event, and somebody was talking, and I just looked at him, I was like, were you talking to me this whole time? Like, what, like, cause they didn't, like, if you don't say, hey, like, I'm not saying you have to be formal, like, you don't have to say, excuse me, sir, but you can say, hey, how's it going? My name's so-and-so, or excuse me, or whatever. But no, they just roll up on you and start talking, so I ignore them, cause I don't know I don't know if you're talking to me or whatever, and God, people do that so often, and I think it's because no one ever taught them to, like, the basics of interaction. And, Q, doesn't that go back to, like, what you were saying about the fundamentals about things like finance and things like that? You have to know the key basics of interacting with people so that you're good, even if you are, like, broke or bad with money, or you make a lot of mistakes when you're young. If you're good at talking to people and interacting with people, you'll find out a lot of that can slide. And I'm not just speaking from experience, but I kind of am. So, and I mean, what's the old saying? Personality goes a long way.
I'm trying to tell you. Because it's a lot of people that don't know what the heck they doing in places of power.
Oh, so, my God.
Trust me.
Who you telling?
It's all about character sometimes. Well, so I guess we're not going to have a conversation about 5 hookers and a bag of cocaine. For,
what?
Your tax return. That's going to be the name of this episode. 5 hookers and a bag of cocaine. That's going to be the name of the episode. Yeah, because that's what most people going to do with their tax returns. They might as well do it because they come out better doing that than some of the other stuff they about to go do. You might as well go get 5 hookers and a bag of cocaine and call it a day.
I'm telling you, man, you buy it.
They getting back, they could get 5 hookers. I want to know.
They getting them cheap ones.
Oh Lord.
They getting the cheap
Hey,
ones. Like,
listen, have y'all? I mean, is it just me? I really hate to run folk down, but daggone every hooker in the world is on Snapchat right now because I get endless messages from, and I'm like, what is this? Like, at first I'd be thinking it's just somebody saying like, hey, what's up? Trying to holler at me, and I look, and it's like, buy my videos, like. And I was like, I don't think you understand how this whole thing works.
Well, Craigslist and Backpage, all that is shut down, and OnlyFans,
right.
you can't sell on
right.
OnlyFans, quote unquote. But some of them do. Some of them do.
Yeah.
Huh? What'd you say?
What? I'm talking.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna see my way out of whatever's happening.
Q like, hold on.
Yeah.
Where did this conversation go? We talk about tax returns here. Oh,
yeah.
She hitting us with the Allison. We talk about practice.
Listen.
You talk about practice?
Listen. Kenny's not lying, man. I know a lot of guys, especially, who've been wanting to slip out on the slide as it is, and then they got that little bit of money. I don't know if COVID shut down the strip clubs or not, but they gonna find a way to.
You can make it rain with a mask on. You can make it rain with the mask on.
Okay.
Trust me.
I mean, they gonna find a way to, they got that money is burning a hole in their pants. Like the money is like, look, I'm gonna be gone regardless. Might as well throw me at a hoe.
Right. And the fact that they haven't grasped the concept that the money is theirs. The money has always been yours.
Right.
Why are you acting like this is all new money? You should know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but, you sit around and you let them pinwhip you at H&R Block and at all these different places that do your taxes, and then you don't get back half your stuff, and H&R Block don't got back half your taxes.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day.
And it's deep, y'all. I mean, we are talking about just like scratching the surface on a lot of this stuff.
Trust me, it's way deep.
And especially about, with people who haven't had money, they have money, blah, blah. But I think everyone made a good point that it is better to be cautious. And that was the point I was trying to make when you asked me about investing. It's better to err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
Don't just jump into something, because really that's not any better decision, truthfully, than buying a lottery ticket or a new car or whatever. Because if you don't know what's going to happen obviously we never know 100% with an investment, but if you haven't done the homework or the research or asked anyone or anything, and you put money into something and it goes away, I mean, you're really not any better off than if you did buy the scratch offs and go to the truck stop out by 77 Statesville Avenue.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the number one rule that I use when investing is I don't let my advisor advise me on any product that I don't understand. Like, if I don't know how it's going to work, I don't want it.
Right.
Like, don't be trying to sell me nothing talking about something crazy, and I'm like,
right.
How that's going to make me money.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about something. Yeah, this is a black product. And then you start looking up the people, the CEO and all that, and you like, it's a black product. It's not ran by black people. Stop trying to sell me on this.
Now that is a show, especially in Charlotte. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I lost so many arguments about, and don't get me wrong, I've worked with so many black-owned business associations here, but I always tell them, look, and again, it's just like that tightrope I was saying. You can't tell grown folk, they say, I want to buy something for myself. Same thing applies with black businesses. It's like, I'm not saying wig stores and barbershops are terrible, but everything you open is a wig shop or a bar. Like, there's so many more things that we could own. There's small insurance companies. There's various types of retail.
Well, all that stuff is lame. That don't attract the type of people they want. You get what I'm saying? So you gotta factor that in too. It's their environment. It's all they know. I mean, it's sad, but that's all they know.
It is. It is. And I did an entrepreneurial consulting group. Like I did 2 years ago. I would do these meetings on either Zoom or Skype, and it was all ladies, all black, and they all did the same thing. Guess what their entrepreneurial business was? I'll give you two guesses.
They own beauty supply stores.
Close.
Hairstylists.
Closer.
Hair braiding?
Close. But okay, here it is. They all no, y'all right with beauty, you was in the parking lot. You was on the street. With beauty, they all did custom, we call those we used to call them Lee press-on nails. I don't know what they are now. They're like enamel, acrylic.
Oh,
okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
The
nails
shop.
And I mean, they made
and everything in there.
Yeah, they made bank doing nails, like all of them. And I thought it was a joke, because after the fourth person said nails, I was like, all right, y'all need to quit winding me up. Like,
Yeah,
I know one of y'all got to braid hair or have own a apartment cleaning service. No, they all did nails, and that was like, and I was like, okay, this is representative of the percentage of the population. That means a bunch of people are doing nails. And listen, being in motion pictures and stuff, you know how many hair and makeup artists there are out there, and they, consider themselves entrepreneurial. Although that's another argument for another day, because honestly, I don't know how you go do hair and makeup when your joint is tore up.
Oh wow!
Hey, I know you.
Look, I'm not saying nothing because I don't want to get attacked by no woman talking about what you say about me, patting her head and stuff.
Well,
no.
I'm not. Look, if you're gonna advertise your services, you need to be the most make it a median, something subtle that you can sell. Don't you. What is that thing they do on the top of the eyes with the rainbow thing on the eyelid? You seen that? This big. I'm like, sure, that's not a selling point.
Oh.
They're like, oh, I'm a hair and makeup artist, and I'm like a artist, or like.
Well, you got Instagram models. I mean, so.
My point, we got way off the point. But my point is, we can have all those different businesses, especially, look, everybody needs car insurance. Everybody needs, there's a lot of products that you need to have.
And let it be a legit business that you pay taxes on.
Right, exactly. And it doesn't have to be a brick and mortar.
You can see the benefits of it then.
Right.
You can't see the benefits if it's not legit. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm not about to go into that right now, but it's a lot of benefits.
Right.
Trust me, if you own a business, if you have an LLC or even a sole proprietorship,
or a DBA, which is what I teach people how to sell.
Yeah, you can see a lot of benefits. As long as you have that EIN, it's a lot of things. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things you can write off every year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm getting my teeth right now because I got to pay taxes, but yeah.
No, and again, it's deep, and we laugh and make jokes, and it's fun, but yeah, it's deep stuff, and there's no easy answer, there's no short answer, other than, and a part of that is how just the economy is set up here, and there's things that people have to do, like we were saying earlier, just to get back to fundamentals and square one. And once you learn the basics on how to handle your business, that's what they call a building block or a stepping stone. Yeah. Then from there,
or you can probably use like my 3 pillars I use. I use simple. My first pillar always is if I want something really bad, I wait about 30 to 60 days and then go back to it to see if I still want it. My second pillar is always, if I got it, I can save it. So, if it's extra, I can save it basically. And my third one is invest. But, like we were saying, most people don't know what to invest in. And I always tell people, find a mutual fund. Mutual fund. You don't lose nothing. I mean, unless the market really tanks, you really don't lose nothing on a mutual fund.
Or even some type of moderate yield savings account.
Yeah.
At minimum, you're not going to lose it. Like you might not make a whole lot, but that's the key to that is the more you save, the more you make. You're in control of that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of basics involved, and I like I said, I'm not trying to bust on anybody. Right. I'm telling you, like I said, it's there's a lot of complexity to it, and it's not directed at any one person or type of person. Everybody makes mistakes, obviously, and
financial
and we
going to be made.
And we all need guidance, but that foundation really needs to be there. But again, these are adults. I'm not going to roll up on them and say, hey, you're doing this, you need to do this, or you're doing this wrong.
Yeah, imagine rolling up on somebody and say, hey, nice rims. Did you invest?
Right.
You got a savings account.
And I'm not saying everybody who has rims and flashy stuff is doing that. I'm just saying the people I know, a lot of people I know, and it's not even so much that their kids don't have like the basics, is that their kids can't read well and their kids they're not functioning on the level they should because of the parents' obsession basically with themselves and with appearances and with ego and with I got something nobody else has, and I mean y'all know the drill.
Yeah, that falls on the lines of the parents not investing in their children with time.
Right. Exactly. Don't y'all remember that song? The children. I believe the children is our future.
Yeah.
Wait, was she was the original person saying that?
What?
That was the greatest love of all, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was an old song.
No, that's Whitney.
That's not. I thought that was.
But I thought she remade it, though.
Yeah, that's what I thought. She remade it.
That's I Will Always Love You. That was Dolly Parton.
No, I know that. I ain't talking about that. You talking about the Bodyguard song? No, the greatest love of all has to be old though, because I believe my sister and them class sang that at their graduation. That was daggone 79.
I didn't want to date myself, but yeah, we sung that in our middle school.
I'm old. I'm the oldest one on here. I bet. I'll be 50 this year.
Oh wow!
You'll be 50 this year?
Yeah, I'll be 50.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh yeah. I know. Tell me about it. And
I want you to go ahead and tell everybody your stuff again. This way they can link and meet up with you, man, because this has been hilariously fun. Q,
I had a great time.
Look, and poor Q, because Q was not expecting this. I'm sorry, Q. I should have warned you. Me and Skip go back. We can have a conversation, and that conversation can turn into just me and him just going back and forth. So, Q, I got to give you a round of applause for being so patient.
That's right.
I like it just the way it is.
Well, that's I really enjoy talking to y'all. The info. SkipPulley.com is basically where you can find everything. If y'all are into reading, and even if you are into poetry and spoken word and you're not into reading, I took what was in my books of poetry and I released a complete anthology spoken word, which is on streaming platforms, but you have to go to SoundCloud right now to hear it all. Just search Skip Pulley, or I believe it's soundcloud.com/Skip Pulley. The book of poetry and essays and prose is called Unto My Soul. It's super cheap. It's like $1.99. And I tell people all the time, how come you ain't got $2? You got all this money for all this, you ain't got $2, but whatever. I ain't trying to bust on anybody. And then I have a book that I wrote, that was, published in 2014. It's existential philosophy. It's called, Always Never Forever. It's still also pretty inexpensive. It's about $5.99 on Amazon. So you can search Skip Pulley author page on Amazon and see both of those. And anybody who reads and gives a review, you definitely get discounted merchandise from my online store. So it's a win-win. I always try to offer everyone something. I know time is limited, and I love to read, but I don't have all the time I want to read, so I understand how it is. But that's basically it. And I really had fun talking to y'all.
Yeah, man.
And this was really enlightening, and I hope some people can listen to some of this and get something from it.
Oh yeah, I hope they get something from it. I hope that it's not the 5 hookers in the bag of cocaine. I hope they can at least
I don't know what kind of job
but,
somebody got that can get that with a refund, but
yeah,
that's a pretty good refund going by the average hooker and cocaine prices right now.
True, true. Yeah, it's a little outrageous, like gas right now. A little outrageous. Not that I partake, but I just know,
we can't help but know.
Yeah.
But
like, share, subscribe, like always, everybody. And as always, if you want to support, there's links. Just $1 a month is great support for your support group, because hey, we like to support you. So if nobody told you today, I love you, man. And we out.
Peace out. I love you. I love you too. I love you, bro. Sis, y'all take care.
All right.
One love.
Just support.